other options. So we talked about all of our strains, our hip impingement, and then there's bursitis, okay, which can be kind of nasty. So with bursitis, an option that we have is to do this star technique. So what we would do is take 3 equal pieces of kinesio, and we're going to kind of do like that blocking, a little bit of that blocking technique, that supportive technique you saw for the patella. Okay, so I try to put them all together, cut them all at once, cut them all at once, okay, on either side. So I would spray that same where we take out the inside. You leave just enough for your fingers. The bursa, it's usually right at the top. I like that she's already on stretch. What we could do is, if you could take your bottom leg away, straighten your bottom leg, put it behind you, good. Now she's on even a little bit more stretch, okay? So there's the femur, stretch right over, push right through. Lay your edges down. 1. Now we crisscross. So this might be for somebody that, you know, it's really hard. Stretch, push. It's really hard to tape this outside of the hip. I mean, the only thing I could say with bursitis is if they're having a problem lifting, which usually they do, you could in play put them into just the hip spica. That likely would be supportive enough. But when they're not playing, after your treatment, you could clean the skin and you could do something like this. Now you're gonna go here, stretch, push in, and then lay your edges down.
So what tension are you at?
I'm at like 50 to 75. And then we lay your edges, and then you give everything just like a good rub. Okay, you could do one more. There's room for one more here, but I usually do 3 is pretty good. The issue with this is if icing is part of your regimen, you've now covered the area. So you have to just sort of determine, you can put a block or a bag of ice over. Eventually she will feel the cold under there, but you've kind of covered it. With hip bursitis, I'm also icing here and I'm also icing here because often the vastus lateralis has a lot of issues in it, and I'm icing around and I'm icing down. That's the only thing about this tape, is it kind of blocks that area. But the underlying, you can stack your knees. The underlying issue is, why do they have hip bursitis? Why is it being overloaded there? That's what you have to get to the bottom of. But so maybe as they're coming back to sport and they're not needing as much of that big ace wrap, the hip spica, you could go to something like this. And in certain sports with padding, football, etc., you would have pads here likely anyway to help protect, but it might need a little support underneath, okay? So that's one good option for this area, which is really hard to kind of tape without doing like that full hip spica. Okay, so that's just a nice little quick and easy you can do in the clinic, or maybe once they're done playing, this is what you send them home with. Okay, then let's do the back next. Okay, and then let's